Hey y'all, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Bodice Tipplers,
the podcast where we read all the books we used to steal off our grandmother's nightstands.
And then we drink about it. Hey y'all, welcome to Bodice Tipplers. It's a very special episode. We have our favorite guest, our favorite all-time guest, returning. She only comes back when there's some kind of global calamity. So there might be some kind of like correlation. But we welcome back for the third time. We have Miss Martha Waters, and she is going to be talking about her newest book, To Marry and to Meddle. So welcome, Martha.
Thank you for having me again.
It's a three-peat.
Yay!
Three-peat. Yeah, this is the trilogy, everybody.
Our annual chat.
Yes, we're in the Empire Strikes Back of it all.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. The Ewoks, whatever. They're all nerdy and dumb. I said it.
Oh wow, we're gonna get notes.
Good.
Possibly from my 7-year-old. I mean, like, Edgar's going to come and punch you.
No, it's fine. I like the Ewoks. I like that one.
Now you're going to get more notes.
I'm just digging. I'm going.
You're digging harder.
I'm going for it. Anyway, we're not here to talk about me and Star Wars. We're here to talk to Martha about To Marry and Meddle. And like, I have to say, this is the one I've been looking forward to. And because I have to make it about me, I currently have the Rona, and it's been my Rona book. And I am so enjoying it. Like it exceeds all the expectations, because these two, Julian and Emily, were like, you know how when you get a book series, there's always that couple that you're like, oh, I can't wait for that one. You know, this is the one that I've been like super excited about. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Well, why don't you introduce the book to our viewers, to our listeners who they don't get all the amazing video that we're getting right now.
I was going to say, I'm really glad we don't have viewers right now, honestly. I feel like that's probably for the best.
I'd be like, oh, Lord.
Tell our listeners about the book.
So To Marry and to Meddle is the third book in my Regency Vows series, but it functions as a standalone, as all of them do. So it is about Emily... Oh my God, Turner. Wow. I wrote this allegedly. I was going to call her Emily Belfry, which is her married name, to be fair.
Yes.
Getting ahead of myself. So Emily Turner, who is very sort of like prim and proper, innocent, unmarried lady, who's had several seasons and has not gotten married yet, and has been forced by her parents to sort of like entertain this very awful suitor that she hates because her dad owes him a bunch of money. And Julian Belfry is the hero, and he is a very sort of scandalous, like black sheep of an aristocratic family who owns a very disreputable theater in London. And they decide at the beginning of the book to get married. Julian's trying to improve the reputation of his theater and thinks that marrying someone like Emily, who's very prim and proper, will improve like his reputation and the theater's reputation. And Emily just wants to get away from her parents, understandably. And so they kind of agree to this marriage of convenience, no feelings involved whatsoever. But as is so often the case in romance novels, things don't go quite according to plan once they get back to London. And Emily is sort of trying to get like more involved at Julian's theater, and they're just sort of navigating marriage together. There's a kitten in the book, which I always feel like I need to mention because it seems to be a lot of people's favorite part. So if you like cats, I've got a cat for you. So yeah, that's the book. I haven't done many interviews yet for this one, and so I'm like, I gotta get better at my spiel.
You can just workshop it with us.
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
it must be hard because like you do a book and then it goes through all this editing stuff, and then by the time it's time to do the publicity for it, like it's no longer the book at the top of your mind, right? I mean, it has to be.
Yeah, I think that's like what people always warn you about. Like when you publish your debut, they're like, it suddenly becomes really strange because you're working on like 2 or 3 different books at once, essentially. Because you're like, usually I'm promoting one and then finishing writing the one after it. But some people who work even like further out are like promoting one, like doing like, you know, page proofs on one and writing a different one. So they're doing, like talking about like 3 books at once, even, which seems like I have a hard enough time keeping 2 in my mind at once. But yeah, it is strange. It's kind of fun though, because it's like you've worked on it for months and months and done all the revisions and everything and gotten really, really sick of it. And then you get to take a little bit of a break away from it and then come back to it when you're writing something else that's like giving you fit. So it's kind of like a nice break to like come back to the one you've already like gotten all polished up and ready to go. Cause it's fun to think about that one and less fun to think about the one you're actually currently writing.
Well, I think too, it's interesting because like these books all three of the books kind of, they don't happen simultaneously, but they're kind of like, it's not like years. Like one happens and then basically like as that one is happening, the startup of the other one is happening. Like, so like in this one, Diana and I can't remember his name. They've just gotten engaged. Yeah, they've like just gotten engaged. So I'm sure it's got to be a little bit confusing. Be like, wait, which one is this? Like, does this happen in? Because there's not like a big. I think it's really cool, and I like that they're all kind of happening cohesively with one another. But I'm sure it's kind of like, wait, is that in that one or this one? So
it's the reason actually I get people asking a lot if I will do epilogues for the books because it's pretty common in romances and I haven't written epilogues for these. And the reason I haven't done it is because they all happen so close together that it feels weird to do an epilogue because I would kind of be like jumping past the action of like the other books almost. So I do plan to do an epilogue for the whole series when I finish writing the series. But like with how close like the time frame is on all of these ones, it felt like weird to do epilogues for them. But yeah, no, I was doing really well at the first one. I was like, when I wrote my first book, I had like a calendar for 1817. I knew all the dates. Like the copy editor complimented me about like how like I knew a day was a Tuesday. They're like, that is a Tuesday if you like count back to when this letter was dated. And I was like, oh, I know. I'm a genius. Flash forward to book 3. One of the turns out I spent like the first quarter of the book thinking it was a different month than it actually was. Like I get the copy edit, and the copy editor is like, so listen, going by the timeline from To Love and to Loathe, the book that you also wrote, it cannot be August anymore. This has to start in September. So I spent like the whole time there at the house party at the beginning of the book. I thought it was still August, and I had to go through and change it to like September in a bunch of places. I had there, like there's a wedding in this book, and I have it like it was supposed to be like mid-October, and they're like, the earliest that wedding could take place is like November 5th. And I was like,
okay,
cool. I know what I'm doing. Everything's fine. I'm not an idiot.
So like what was with this book, now that it's your third book in, and of course they're all quite different about quite different people, what's your favorite part, or like the part that you most enjoyed about writing this specific book?
This one was the hardest one to write of any of the 3 so far, because I started trying to write it in like May 2020. I was between rounds of revisions on To Love and to Loathe, the second book. So I started trying to write a first draft of the third one, and I literally tossed out 10 different drafts before I was able to write a complete first draft. Like I didn't make it that far in a lot of them. I think the furthest I made it in was like 20,000 words on a couple of them, but I probably tossed out well over 50,000 words at this one because I just couldn't figure out like where to start the book. Because they'd been on page together so much in the previous 2 books that it was really tricky. So I was really struggling with it, and then I like finally landed on like how to start the book, like what I wanted the story to be. My editor had a lot of really helpful suggestions. But I was just writing it and it was such a slog. And then I kind of on a whim created this like character of a kitten because I wanted their wedding night to get interrupted. So I was like, I'll have a random kitten be in their like hotel room basically. And I was really worried that my editor was going to make me take it out because I was worried it was like too indulgent. And I was having so much fun writing all these scenes with this like deranged kitten that I was like, if I'm enjoying myself writing this book, I must be doing something wrong because this book has been such a slog. But when I got my editor's note, she was like, no, I love the kitten. Can you put more of the kitten in?
You're like, you got it.
I was like, yes, I absolutely can, because I'm dying trying to write this book. So please let me insert more cat content. But yeah, this one was fun to write also just because Emily is a character. She really sort of comes into her own over the course of the book. She's much quieter and like more proper than either of the first 2 heroines in the series. She's the least like me out of any of the characters I've written so far in the series. But I always had like a really strong sense of who she was as a character, even in the earlier books. So it's been really like rewarding to actually get to put that on the page and like show that character arc and kind of bring out, it's not so much that she's changing as like she's becoming like who she always was deep down, which has been was really satisfying to write.
There's a great part like after they get married. I mean, that's not really a spoiler because that's like basically in the first part of the book where she's in the like they're, you know, in the carriage to London, and she sort of like has this like, oh my God, I don't have to worry about all this dumb shit that I had to worry about. And just sort of has like this hysterical moment. And Julian's like, you good? And it was really great. I don't know. I've always liked her character because you could tell she just wanted to like, once she got loose from that she would be so much fun. And she really is. So I have enjoyed it very much. And like Julian's like he's fuckboyish, but like he's fuckboyish with like, more like, I don't know, like a likable one, I guess, you know, like he's just sort of an idiot, like a himbo, but like a good himbo, you know, like
that's the goal. Someone asked me recently if I could marry any one of my heroes that I've written so far, which one I would choose. And I was like, Julian, like he's definitely the one I would want to marry.
Well, like he's very, you know, like Violet and I was like, I can remember all the girls' names, but like the
James,
like I was like, these are those people that always bring drama, like any party, like they're the drama couple, and like I love Diana. They're just so great, but like these two, I just really have appealed to me. I've really much enjoyed it. They're so cute and fun. And,
I think they really like bring out the best in each other, which is obviously like what you're trying as like when you're reading a romance or when you're writing a romance, like what you're looking for is like, you want, I feel like for it to be satisfying, like you want the character to feel like the characters really bring out the best in each other. And like sort of by being in the presence of the other one, it sort of like shows you a different side to that character or whatever than versus what like everyone else would see. And I feel like particularly with these two, like I feel like they really bring out the best in each other. So I found them like once I got out of my own way and figured out how to like write the book, I found like their actual like sort of emotional arc to be really, really satisfying to write.
Can you, are you allowed to tell us anything about what you're working on now?
We haven't announced it yet. I'm hoping we will really soon. We'll say I'm right. It's another book in this universe. So I'm not done with this series yet, which is funny because when I first came up with the idea for it, I thought it was going to be a trilogy. I thought it was going to, you know, so there's like 3 girls who are all friends, and I was like, oh, I'll write a book for each of them.
We got a brother. We got a
by the time,
yeah, I figured it's the brother, right?
By the time I finished writing the first book, I was like, well, we'll just see what happens. But I don't want to stop at 3. I have an idea for a couple other characters that I would like, or a few other characters that I would like to tell their stories. So I am writing one of those now, and I'm really hopeful that my editor will let me announce it soon.
You're like, well, come on.
Because when we met you, you were just like a little baby debut author.
I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I still don't really know what I'm doing. I know like a little bit more what I'm doing than I did 2 years ago. So that's something.
And like actual babies, like you have never had a normal authorial career because you started right when the pandemic started.
No.
So,
I know those 20. Sorry, my cat is very excited that I'm talking to people. Yeah, those 2020 debuts and 2021 debuts as well. But some people who debuted in 2021 have actually gotten to do like some in-person stuff, I think. But those of us who debuted in 2020, like we spent our whole debut year not like doing any in-person events. My launch for this one, my launch for this one's going to be in person. I'm flying down to Chapel Hill.
Oh, good. That's so fun.
Yeah, we're doing an in-person launch. Like all my like friends are coming, and my parents are coming. So I'm really excited. I'm like, on my 3rd book, I will finally get to do my first ever in-person book event. So I kind of still feel like a baby who doesn't know what she's doing.
Well, hopefully, you know, assuming that because you put another book out, we don't go to global thermonuclear war. Hopefully book
it's
4.
It's a little concerning.
Yeah, you know, because you can't earn out in a post-nuclear wasteland.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one's going to be buying books.
No.
They'll have bigger problems.
Well, you know, it'll be the Fahrenheit 451, like the memorization economy. So somebody's job is going to be to memorize your book and then, you know, do the Homeric like thing. Yeah, assuming that doesn't happen. Hopefully now, as things maybe calm down, maybe you'll get to have, more of the fun stuff and less of the.
I don't know though. I think that could be a really good campaign though for for your events, is to have everybody dress up like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, just holding your books and reading them.
Yeah,
there you go.
My best friend told me that she wanted me to wear 3 different outfits, on my launch day this year. And so she's like, I'm going to take a series of pictures of you, with holding the first book in one outfit and holding the second book in a different outfit and then holding the new one. She's like, so we can pretend that you actually got to have 3 3 in-person book events.
I mean, people do that at weddings when they really, really like 3 dresses.
Yeah, they do. So yeah, just basically make it like a Bravo show and just go full out and I'm having costume changes. Yeah.
So is there, I don't know, any other updates in Marthaville? Anything else you'd like to tell us?
I mean,
I don't know. We're not great interviewers, quite frankly. We're not even great podcasters.
We've gotten worse at interviewing.
I think so.
I'm not a great interviewee either. I can't summarize my own book in a normal way. I can't remember my own character's last name. So, we're all just muddling along here together semi-competently.
It's our aesthetic.
The way I do everything. So it's great. So yeah, no. Book good.
Well, why don't you tell us where and when to get your new book and remind us what it's called?
So To Marry and to Meddle comes out on April 5th. It's because they all came out, they come out the same week each year.
That's my wedding anniversary.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's how you'll remember it from now on. April
Exactly. well, last year was April 6th, and that was my mom's birthday. So I had a really easy time remembering it last year. And then the year before that, it was the first one. So I didn't have any issues. But this year, it being the third one in that same week, I'm oh, God.
Forget it.
Yeah. So April 5th, To Marry and to Meddle will be in bookstores everywhere, assuming the global supply chain doesn't collapse and we're all in a nuclear war or something. So, and
what is your local bookstore now so that we can order that way?
Yeah,
or are you still using the same one?
So if people want to pre-order it and get a signed pre-order, they can do that through either my bookstore up here in Maine, which is Print, and they're printbookstore.com. I'm also doing signed pre-orders through my old local bookstore back in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and that's flyleafbooks.com. I know web addresses. So you can get signed copies from either place, and if you pre-order it, and actually you can get signed copies after the date from either place as well, because I'm going to sign everything they have in Flyleaf while I'm down there. And you can ask me to draw weird things. Someone asked me to draw a sheep last time, so I did. I drew a sheep in their book. So if you want to
you got to practice kittens. You got to practice.
Someone asked me. I did a giveaway of one of my advanced copies, and the person who won was like, could you include a little tagline or a favorite line or anything relevant to the book? And I was like, oh, I don't have a favorite line. Don't put me on the spot. And then I was like, oh, I can draw a kitten. So I did this it looks like art done by a kindergartner because I have zero artistic ability whatsoever. But I did doodle a little kitten inside that person's book. So maybe I should brush up on my kitten drawing skills for this one.
I'm sure very desirable collector's item. All right. Well, it has been, as always, a joy to see our friend Martha again.
I know.
Three-peat Martha.
So much for having me. I look forward to this every year, and I hope that nothing even more catastrophic happens.
Well, it seems like it escalates every time too, because last year I guess it was Delta, and so I would just be careful.
Next year we're going to be Sarah and I are going to be hiding out in a mall from zombies.
We're going to be in bunkers or something next year. I'm going to have a little helmet on and everything.
We're ready to talk. Yes, it's gonna be
and it won't be because of global thermonuclear war. It'll be because of Romancelandia melted down about whether it's okay to be thirsty for the president of another country. That's gonna be why.
I could honestly
the
see
bomb
happening.
Yeah, Romancelandia Twitter just is the gift that keeps on giving sometimes. So
I don't spend much time on Twitter. My account is essentially updates only at this point, like more or less, because I started getting so stressed out because when I logged on, people were mad about something. And I was like, well, what are they mad about? I'm like, and then I had to like spend 30 minutes.
You had to research it. Yeah.
You have to like find the original tweet.
You had to find the subtweeting.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, can we have like a Wikipedia for Romancelandia, like Twitter drama, please? Like, I don't know what's going on.
Like a digest. You used to get a digest of all the listservs you were on.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of need. It's like that.
Like a little, like somebody to sum up the daily events. Like if somebody could just do that in a couple of tweets to be like, hey, here's what you missed. Like that would be amazing.
that would be ideal.
Well, I love this book. I think it's fantastic. Again, I've been super excited for this one, and
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you on. And again, it's just kind of like really cool for us. I'm making it about us to see, like, to kind of see this journey that you've been on, and we wish you all the best and love to see
I look forward to chatting with you guys every year. It's always really
I'm so
fun.
proud of you, as if I had anything to do with it.
I know.
Well, thank you. Thanks, moms.
Living your best life in Maine. You're doing the author thing, like getting it. Wow.
Oh,
good for you
guys.
All right, so this has been our very special guest episode of Bodice Tipplers. You can find Martha. Why don't you tell them where to find you online?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, mainly Instagram at Martha B. Waters. And also my website is marthawaters.com.
Okay, so again, be sure to follow Martha on Twitter and definitely her Instagram, because since she has moved to Maine, it's just pictures of beautiful farmhouses and leaves. And everybody could use more of that in a highly stressful life. You can follow us at bodicetipplers.com, B-Tipplers on Twitter, Bodice Tipplers on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to throw some money our way, you can go to patreon.com/Bodice Tipplers.
Bodice Tipplers is part of the Frolic Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts.